Welcome to the behind-the-scenes world of one of the greatest and most chaotic comedy films in cinematic history, Caddyshack. Even if you've watched this movie dozens of times, there are facts about its production that will leave you stunned. This was not simply a film production. It was a months-long rebellion on a Florida golf course, where the line between the script and reality almost completely disappeared. Below are 15 shocking facts you may have missed about this comedy masterpiece. 1. The story changed from drama to comedy. The earliest concept for Caddyshack was completely different from the movie audiences eventually saw. Originally, the script was written as a serious coming-of-age story centered around teenage caddies like Danny Noonan and Tony D'Annunzio. Brian Doyle Murray drew inspiration from the real experiences he and the Murray brothers had while working as caddies at golf clubs in Illinois to earn money, where they encountered strict class divisions and the harsh social rules of the wealthy elite. However, once filming began, the arrival of comedy giants like Chevy Chase and Rodney Dangerfield completely transformed the direction of the movie. Director Harold Ramis quickly realized that every time the adult characters appeared, the energy exploded so powerfully that it overshadowed the teenage storyline. As a result, the coming-of-age plot about the caddies was pushed into the background, replaced by the hilarious and improvised clashes between the veteran stars. Number 2. The factors that got the film greenlit. For a risky project like Caddyshack to receive approval from Orion Pictures, the presence of a proven box office star was absolutely essential. At the time, Chevy Chase was the hottest breakout star from Saturday Night Live. His name served as the production's most valuable insurance policy, giving studio executives enough confidence to fund a first-time director like Harold Ramis. Without Chase agreeing to join, the film might never have moved beyond the script stage. At the same time, casting Rodney Dangerfield was also considered a bold gamble. Rodney was already a legendary stand-up comedian, but he had never acted in a feature film before. His confusion on set became legendary. Having spent years hearing audiences erupt with laughter after every joke, Rodney reportedly became deeply uncomfortable when the film crew stayed completely silent during takes for sound recording purposes. He even complained to the director that he was performing terribly simply because nobody on the golf course was laughing. Number 3. The conflict between Bill Murray and Chevy Chase. The feud between Bill Murray and Chevy Chase was not a rumor. It was Hollywood history. 2 years before filming began, the two men had reportedly gotten into a heated physical altercation backstage at Saturday Night Live, exchanging brutal insults about each other's appearance and talent. Because of that tension, the original script for Caddyshack was specifically designed so their characters, Carl Spackler and Ty Webb, would never share a scene together. But when Harold Ramis realized the film needed a truly unforgettable moment, he made a risky decision, forcing the two rivals to appear together in one scene. The famous shack scene became a kind of diplomatic negotiation. Murray and Chase sat down together for an afternoon, improvised dialogue ideas and filmed the entire sequence in only a few hours. Strangely enough, their real-life tension created remarkable chemistry, turning the moment into one of the most iconic scenes in the movie. 4. A chaotic set and tragic losses. The Caddyshack set in Florida during 1979 reportedly resembled an endless festival of excess. Drugs and alcohol were everywhere, from the actors' trailers to the dressing rooms. Harold Ramis later admitted he frequently worked exhausted and sleep-deprived due to the non-stop parties involving cast members throughout production. Although the chaos produced moments of comedic genius and spontaneous improvisation, it also pushed the production dangerously close to complete loss of control. The person most deeply affected may have been Douglas Kenney, one of the film's writers and producers. After the movie's release, Kenney reportedly struggled with severe emotional and psychological difficulties fueled by work pressure and the reckless lifestyle surrounding production. Only months after the film became a massive success, he was found dead following a fall from a cliff in Hawaii. His death left a profound emotional scar on Harold Ramis and the Murray family, marking the symbolic end of an era of rebellious comedy filmmaking. Number 5. Natural disasters and location challenges. Recreating the atmosphere of America's Midwest in Florida proved to be a major technical challenge. The crew constantly searched for golf courses without visible palm trees in order to hide the true filming location. Production designers even manipulated vegetation to create the illusion that the story was taking place in Illinois. At times, those efforts felt hopeless as tropical ocean winds swept across the set. Nature created even bigger problems when Hurricane David struck in September 1979. The storm forced the evacuation of expensive camera equipment and completely halted production. Yet instead of panicking, the cast and crew reportedly embraced the interruption by throwing a hurricane party inside their hotel. That carefree and reckless spirit became deeply embedded in the final tone of Caddyshack itself. Number 6. The Rise of Carl Spackler. Originally, the golf course groundskeeper Carl Spackler, played by Bill Murray, was intended to be only a minor supporting character with very little dialogue. According to the original schedule, Murray was only supposed to spend 6 days filming his scenes. But the moment Murray began performing, everyone realized they were witnessing a master of improvisational comedy. Carl Spackler transformed from a random maintenance worker into a bizarre philosopher with wildly eccentric ideas about life. Murray's energy became so overwhelming that Harold Ramis repeatedly called him back to Florida even after his original filming schedule had ended. Many of Carl's most legendary scenes were added later specifically to capitalize on Murray's comedic brilliance. What started as a disposable side character evolved into the soul of the movie, a symbol of rebellion against the rigid rules and elitism of luxury golf culture. 7. The improvised moments that became legendary. Most of Bill Murray's iconic lines in the film were never actually written in the 200-page script. A perfect example is the scene where Carl delivers his monologue about caddying for the Dalai Lama. Murray completely improvised the story based on a small suggestion from the director, creating endless laughter for the entire crew behind the cameras. His ability to invent comedy on the spot transformed ordinary situations into surreal comedic masterpieces. The Cinderella story sequence was also a triumph of improvisation. In the script, there was only a single stage direction. Carl hits the flowers with a golf club. Murray added the imaginary sports commentary himself, pretending to be an unknown golfer facing the final shot to win a championship. His brilliant commitment to the bit turned a ridiculous act of vandalism into a cinematic moment that perfectly captured the psychology of the character. 8. The $500,000 gopher. The gopher, the symbol of the movie, was not originally considered important. It was only meant to appear as a small comedic detail in Carl's ongoing battle. However, once editing was complete, the producers realized the film lacked a strong narrative thread connecting all the chaotic comedy scenes together. They decided to transform the gopher into a recurring character, serving as both a troublemaker and the key to the explosive finale. To create realistic movement for the gopher, the producers spent nearly $500,000, an enormous amount at the time, to hire specialists from the Star Wars production team to build an animatronic puppet. The remote-controlled gopher featured complex facial expressions and dancing movements. Investing such a massive budget into a mechanical puppet for a low-budget comedy proved the producer's vision in creating a true pop culture icon. Number 9. A real-life prank behind the pool scene. The famous swimming pool evacuation scene, caused by a mysterious foreign object that turned out to be a Baby Ruth candy bar, remains one of the funniest scenes in film history. The idea did not come from the screenwriters, but was actually based on a real prank Brian Doyle Murray pulled during his youth at a local golf club. The Murray brothers' mischievous real-life experiences gave the movie a layer of authenticity that became comedic gold. To shoot the sequence, the crew carefully experimented with ways to make the candy bar resemble a horrifying floating object as realistically as possible. They even used a foam version to keep it from sinking immediately. The scene's final punchline, Bill Murray casually picking it up and taking a bite, shocked many of the background extras because several of them genuinely did not know it was only a candy bar. 10. Ted Knight, the professional among wild horses. Ted Knight approached his role as Judge Smales with the seriousness of a classically trained television actor. He always arrived on time, memorized every line exactly as written, and expected everything to follow the schedule perfectly. Because of this, Rodney Dangerfield's improvisational style, constantly forgetting lines and changing dialogue, drove Knight absolutely crazy. Some of his outbursts on set were reportedly very real and not entirely acting. Ironically, Ted Knight's genuine frustration was exactly what the movie needed. He created the perfect counterbalance, a stiff, old-fashioned authority figure trapped in the middle of complete chaos. Without Knight's seriousness and visible irritation, the outrageous antics of Dangerfield and Murray would never have felt nearly as hilarious. He was the anchor preventing the movie from collapsing entirely into absurdity. 11. The explosion that alarmed an airport. The film's explosive finale at the 18th golf hole was an impressive practical effects achievement. To create the massive blast, pyrotechnics experts installed a huge amount of explosives directly on location in Florida. The explosion looked spectacular on camera, but it also created a major security scare because the set was located close to the flight path of Fort Lauderdale International Airport. When the enormous cloud of smoke rose into the sky, a pilot preparing to land radioed air traffic control reporting what appeared to be a plane crash on a golf course. The report immediately triggered emergency response systems throughout the area. Police officers and firefighters rushed to the set, only to discover a film crew standing there in confusion. The incident later became one of the film's most legendary behind-the-scenes stories, perfectly reflecting the outrageous scale of the production's chaos. 12. The quiet disappearance of Sarah Holcomb. Sarah Holcomb, who played the lively Maggie, had a tragically short career. After the success of Caddyshack, she almost completely disappeared from Hollywood. In reality, Sarah struggled deeply with the toxic environment surrounding the production, which was filled with drugs and unhealthy temptations. She was still very young at the time and lacked the protection needed to survive the darker side of the comedy scene in the late 1970s. Her disappearance became one of the film's saddest untold stories. After filming ended, she reportedly battled substance abuse and mental health issues. While many of her male co-stars went on to become major Hollywood stars, Sarah quietly stepped away from fame in search of peace. Her story remains a sobering reminder of the price of early fame in an industry that often lacked boundaries and support systems. 13. From critical failure to cultural icon. When Caddyshack premiered in 1980, many major film critics attacked it harshly. Famous critic Roger Ebert described the movie as structurally messy, lacking a coherent storyline, and relying too heavily on disconnected comedy sketches. The film's initial box office performance was also weaker than expected, leading many to believe it would quickly fade into obscurity. But something remarkable happened through cable television and VHS rentals. Younger audiences throughout the 1980s and 1990s connected deeply with the movie's rebellious and carefree spirit. Over time, Caddyshack became celebrated as a comedy masterpiece precisely because it ignored traditional storytelling rules. Decades later, the American Film Institute honored the movie among the greatest comedy films ever made, proving that spontaneity and authenticity can sometimes outlive even the most carefully crafted scripts. 14. The Murray Brothers Restaurant. The film's influence became so powerful that it eventually crossed into real life through a unique business venture. In 2001, Bill Murray and 5 of his brothers opened the Murray Brothers Caddyshack restaurant in St. Augustine, Florida. The restaurant was more than just a business. It became a living museum filled with memorabilia, photographs, and tributes to the movie they had created together. The restaurant's slogan, "Eat, Drink, and Be Murray," perfectly captured the rebellious energy of the film's characters. Visitors came not only for the food, but also to immerse themselves in the atmosphere of the legendary Bushwood Country Club. More than 2 decades later, the restaurant remains a popular destination for loyal fans, turning the movie's legacy into a lasting piece of local culture. 15. The movie that wrote itself, Caddyshack, stands as one of the rare examples in film history where the written script became secondary to the performer's creativity. Although Harold Ramis and Douglas Kenney spent enormous effort writing a detailed 200-page screenplay, once filming began, The improvisational genius of Rodney Dangerfield and Bill Murray completely transformed the material. They were not simply acting, they were rewriting the movie in real time, one golf hole at a time. The power of improvisation became the secret behind the film's greatness. Rather than forcing actors to follow rigid dialogue, Ramis allowed them the freedom to experiment, accepting the risk in exchange for authentic comedic brilliance. That is why Caddyshack is more than just a comedy film. It is a successful artistic experiment about the power of spontaneity, where comedy legends literally created their own mythology as the cameras rolled. From all-night parties to improvised conversations that became cinematic history, Caddyshack was never just a movie. It became a symbol of rebellion and limitless comedic genius. If you enjoy discovering the wild behind-the-scenes stories of legendary films, make sure to follow for more untold Hollywood secrets and cinematic chaos. Which improvised moment in Caddyshack is your favorite? Was it Bill Murray's unforgettable Dalai Lama monologue, or Rodney Dangerfield's non-stop barrage of savage one-liners? Leave a comment below, and let's relive these timeless moments together.